Next up on our Summer of 1989 footage, Hollywood Insider interviews Bill Murray. Enjoy.
Grades of laundry, okay? There's not just clean and dirty.
Another of this summer's eagerly awaited films has busted loose across the big screen. Ghostbusters 2 is out and is already the biggest film at the box office. Ghostbusters, of course, was a huge hit the first time around, and you'd think that all the original actors would be eager to do a second film and cash in on that success. But we found out that actor Bill Murray wasn't really interested in rejoining his fellow Ghostbusters at first. Here's the inside story from Bill himself.
I make it a rule never to get involved with possessed people. Actually, it's more of a guideline than a rule.
Ghostbusters is one of the most successful film comedies ever made. So, not surprisingly, a lot of people in Hollywood have been hot to make a sequel. Well, Ghostbusters 2 is finally here, but it's taken 5 years to get it made.
What's your name?
His name is Oscar.
Oh, named after a hot dog, you poor man.
The main reason it took so long to get the sequel off the ground is that, for quite a while, Ghostbusters star Bill Murray did not want any part of a spin-off. When they first approached you, you weren't too crazy about coming back with the sequel?
No one in their right mind would want to come back. It says somebody, it's like Declaration of Independence 2. Okay? No, we did fine the first time, and we probably should have left well enough alone, but finally Harold and Dan were convinced that they could make something worthwhile doing, so we said, oh, what the heck. Let's go out there on the edge. You know, they'll crucify us if it's no good, so let's try it.
But it took Murray a long time to come around to that point of view, for a couple of reasons. The first one was a matter of Hollywood politics. In 1986, David Putnam became the head of Columbia Pictures, the company which made Ghostbusters. But Murray and Putnam reportedly did not like each other, and that zapped any chances of a Ghostbusters 2. In 1987, David Putnam was replaced at Columbia by Don Steele, who did get along with Murray. But now there was another reason Bill wouldn't do Ghostbusters 2. He'd become burned out with making movies, so he left Hollywood and didn't come back for nearly 4 years.
I justified reasons for taking time off, but I really wanted not to work. Life moves along, time keeps moving, so you don't want to feel like you're just working. You don't want to be a fool. I got into this business because you had to have fun to be good at it, I thought, and to just do it all the time, I thought was the sucker move. I mean, if you just, it's like somebody that works himself to death. You feel like a jerk.
During Bill's 4 years of self-imposed exile, the last thing on his mind was doing a sequel to Ghostbusters. He spent a lot of time with his brothers and sisters and his mother, who was dying of cancer. And he found all sorts of interesting things to do that he rarely had time for in the past.
You'd be amazed. Take a day off sometime and see if you manage to get through the day without work. It's extraordinary. I urge everyone home to do it 2 or 3 times a week. Just stay home from work and see if you manage to live through the day. And you find things that you wouldn't have found otherwise. You have to take time to find what's missing.
In late '87, Murray's agent finally got him to go out to lunch with some of the other principals from Ghostbusters, including Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. The purpose of the gathering was to discuss a sequel, but walking into the meeting, Bill didn't think the movie would ever be made. However, he, Dan, and Harold had so many laughs over lunch that Bill realized how much fun it would be to work together again. So Murray agreed to do Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, baby.
Bill Murray may be one of the highest-paid stars in Hollywood, but he'll never do a movie just for the money. To Bill, the most important thing is having fun.
Here from HBO is a great making-of special on Ghostbusters 2. I have it several times on the tape, so I'm going to give you the most complete one. This particular one I wrote more complete this time, letterboxed mood slime clip, and there's a wonderful quote of Bill Murray in there where he's talking to the crowd of extras on a megaphone. So be sure to watch for that. Enjoy.
This is a wonderful world of Ghostbusters.
Director Ivan Reitman has reunited the team of cutting-edge comic actors and writers who made Ghostbusters the highest-grossing film comedy ever. They're together again to save the day in Ghostbusters 2.
We're ready for it. We're ready for it.
Yeah.
Actually, we never thought we would make a sequel. But as we thought about the experience and as the sort of the phenomena started taking hold, then the possibility that became the probability of a sequel grew.
Ivan Reitman, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Rick Moranis have been setting new standards in comedy for nearly 2 decades. But when they came together in Ghostbusters, they created a phenomenon that took them and the whole world by surprise.
Ghostbusters! There's something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
I'm amazed at how long it's been popular. I mean, normally you do a film, and it's out for 6 months if you're lucky, and people are still talking about it, and then it's gone.
None of us had ever done a sequel, although we had offers on virtually every film we'd worked on.
There's definitely something going on in that studio. The PKE levels were just out of sight.
But then we started thinking, well, if we could come up with a concept that seemed worthy, that really progressed us in some way, that had something new to say, then let's do it.
I always knew that there was more than one story. Even when writing the first one, I was thinking of, well, if they do this, they could do this, this, and this.
Go ahead, Ray.
You foul, obnoxious mob!
You have a weak electrochemical bond.
I have seen some disgusting crud in my time, but you take the case. You're just...
This is what you do with your spare time. The first one, I ended up with all the lines, so that was pretty sweet. They just kept giving them to me. I don't think they realized what a big hit the movie was going to be, but this one, people are taking the lines that are theirs and taking more, too.
Part of the success of the first film was the friendliness of the characters to the audience and back. You know, I think they responded to the 4 Ghostbusters and to the other characters in the film.
Fantastic in this.
I was born to wear this stuff.
Everybody's back. I think it's unbelievable. I mean, the sequels never get the whole original cast back, I don't think.
It's very much like coming back to family. I'm walking around here saying, let's do a series, you know, Thursday nights at 9:30, Ghostbusters. What, you know, this is it.
Two in the box.
Ready to go.
We be fast and
They be slow.
wow.
To me, it's like being put in a class with the most awful boys who spend all their time throwing spitballs and dipping your braids into the inkwell. You know, it's this sort of streak of masochism in me. I mean, I love them all, but it really is like Boys Town.
No! No, please, no, you!
Who's this Wiggler?
He's yours, Ray. Sick him.
There are some additions to this exceptional cast. Peter McNichol is Dana's boss, Janos Poha, and William and Henry Deutschendorf make their screen debuts as Oscar, son of the now-divorced Dana.
I think one of the big changes in this is the little child that I have. I actually think Bill is so wonderful with kids. You know, he charms children right away, even babies. Well, what do you think?
Well, he's ugly. I mean, he's not Elephant Man ugly, but he's not attractive. Was his father ugly?
Don't listen.
When Ghostbusters 2 hit the streets last December, these notoriously blasé New Yorkers embraced them.
How many people are from out of town? Can we hear from you folks? Yeah! How many people from New York City? Can we hear from you? What do you say we just beat the hell out of the tourists, huh?
There's not a cold heart in the crowd.
Since New York itself is an important character in the story, production designer Bo Welch did extensive research on the city's architectural history to create the look of the film. Once production in New York was completed, the cast and crew moved to Los Angeles for more location shooting, and eventually wound up occupying several sound stages at Columbia Pictures.
Roll slate.
Meanwhile, in Northern California, those techno wizards at Industrial Light and Magic were busy creating new and improved ghosts, and good slime and bad slime.
We didn't think this would happen, but there is more slime in this movie. Slime is very central to it.
Too much slime. We shot a scene last night where we were doused continuously in slime.
As a director, it's an extraordinary thrill because it means that somehow, in the process of the storytelling, I'm communicating to a very broad audience. And it's not only in America, it's universal across the world.
We're the best, we're the beautiful, we're the only Ghostbusters.
Hollywood Insider. Rolling. Quiet on the set. Parentheses, letterboxed mood slime clip, and has a great quote by Bill Murray where he's just talking to the crowd of extras there with a megaphone. So enjoy. Almost said microphone. One word away from the finish, and I said microphone instead of megaphone. God! And there's a wonderful quote of Bill Murray in there where he's talking to the crowd of extras on a megaphone. So be sure to watch for that. Enjoy.